Good morning and guten Tag auf Deutsch. My name is Zaid Farkouh and these are my colleagues Salah Hamarni and Tariq Abul Filat. Today we will discuss a major topic which is the supply chain streamlining at Sameh Mall. Throughout our presentation, we will first begin with to cover the following points. Firstly, we will give a brief about our company overview, and then it will follow up with the three major topics that we will talk about, which are inventory management, the vehicle routing problem, and the CPFR. And at the end, we will conclude by giving a summary of all of what we just did. To begin with, Sameh Mall is one of the most important and well-known retailers in Jordan. It is started in 2001 as retail groups and shopping center. Secondly, it has now 23 branches. It is widely spread around the country and of course in many different cities. And lastly, it has 10 different departments from electronics, home supplies, and food and beverages, and other things.
Thank you. Okay, now for the inventory management part. At the beginning, Sameh Mall didn't have any supply chain department, and they didn't implement any supply chain methods. And this caused or led to some problems. For example, suppliers having to lead the ordering process, and overstock and out of stocks caused by the push system. And the stores management were not involved in the replenishment process. Okay, now this is the flow chart for the initial case before optimizing. As you can see, there is no supply chain department. The orders were triggered by the suppliers themselves, and this caused large quantities and other mistakes, and there was a lot of paperwork, and this slowed down the ordering operation. Okay, so therefore we decided to streamline the inventory management in two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1, first we chose to follow the P system, a periodic ordering system, and then we collected the circle demand data and analyzed that, and then we filtered out the outliers using the interquartile range. The second step was to calculate the P max, or the target level. It was calculated using two methods. The first method was setting it at 2 weeks stock cover. That was done by calculating the weekly average demand and then multiplying by 2. And the second method is called the P system method. That takes the safety stock into consideration, and the P max was calculated using a set of equations. These are on the right. Okay, this is the flow chart for the after phase 1, after we've done it. So the first thing that we did is to make the stores manager themselves triggers the orders instead of the supplier coming to the offices. So the store managers, we provided them with the out-of-stock report. The out-of-stock report included the max that we calculated, and so we suggested the quantities for them to help them to make the orders. Okay, the phase 2. In phase 2, we just wanted to fully automate the ordering process. So right now there's a lot of paperwork, so less time. That was done by programming an ERP system to trigger the orders every Friday.
Okay, so the second topic that we have also covered is the CPFR. I think you all know what CPFR stands for. It stands for Collaborative Planning, Forecasting, and Replenishment. In this section, we focus on information sharing between the supplier and the company. At the beginning, the suppliers were not aware of the demand and the stock levels at Sameh Mall. So a simulation model is we suggested a simulation model that shows how the information sharing is going to happen and the impact of information sharing on the suppliers and the company. As a result of this, the supplier now know our competitors, and they also know our the demands and the customer needs. So this will lead to a decrease in the lead time and a decrease in the opportunity and the holding cost by controlling the overstock and the out of stock items. And of course, lastly, it will also maintain a good relationship between the supplier and the company itself. This simulation model was designed using an ARENA software. It's a program. It shows the information sharing processes and taking into consideration, of course, the holding cost, the ordering cost, and also the lead time and the inventory position. Lastly, what we have obtained during the implementation of the PE system with the information sharing is that the total supply chain cost was reduced by 42%.
So the third part of this project is VRP. VRP stands for Vehicle Routing Problem. There were no routes in Samih Mall. All the orders, all the work was done randomly. And what we did here is that all the goods were transported from the branches, from the warehouses to the branches and between the branches. So the main objective here is to minimize the total cost by minimizing the distances traveled. So as you can see here, this is the initial transportation network, which includes 2 warehouses, Al-Zarqa warehouse and Sahab, and of course all the other branches. So basically the main problems here were that no minimization of distances or costs were taken into consideration. Al-Zarqa warehouse supplies Sahab warehouse and also other branches, while Sahab supplies each of the branches. So first, what was done, the branches were divided into zones, the following 5 zones, and this table shows the zones according to how close they are to each other. So zone A includes the following branches, and zone B, and etc. So basically, a Cplex model was created under the following constraints. Each route begins and ends at Sahab warehouse. Each branch is exactly visited once, and the total demand of each route does not exceed the capacity of the vehicle. So here it shows the Cplex model. This shows the decision variables and the parameters, and and this shows the objective function and the constraints I mentioned before. So after the implementation of the Cplex model, we concluded that the optimal route to be crossed is 475.3 kilometers per day. And this shows the new transportation network. As you can see, now we have only 1 warehouse, Sahab. The other warehouse, Al-Zarqa, was excluded. And here we have the zones that we divided.
Okay, so to wrap up and summarize our project, the project includes 3 major topics that we have already implemented at Samih Mall. Firstly, it was the inventory management part. In the inventory management part, the stock management now is involved. The pull system is converted to a push one. And lastly, it is fully automated. The ordering system is fully automated using an ERP system. As for the CPFR, the information sharing between suppliers and the company is now available also. And lastly, for the vehicle routing problem, we have, using Cplex model, we have deduced we have now the optimal results for the total distance traveled per truck per day. and this is the optimum result that we can achieve. And finally, of course, we would like to end our presentation by thanking our Dr. late Abu Hilal for his continuous support and for giving us this opportunity to present our project. And thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much.